Hello, dear friends. Here we are. We are here with our dear friend Julio Carvalho, who is here with us in this beautiful opportunity to discuss peacemaking skills. We all need the refreshing instructions by the good spirit doctors of the Spiritist doctrine to tell us more about the importance of creating peacemaking skills. And you may be able to join us now live. We're here at Kardec Radio, right? Yes, I can see ourselves, Julio. So you can probably see us here as well. Thank you. We have here a beautiful community. I was telling Julio about our more than 180 days, much more. I've lost my count, but it's since November 12th. We've been together and sharing these teachings that give us new life. And we thank you very much, dear friends, for holding on. It's a new platform that we're using, and we're very joyful for being here with you in this very, very moment, okay? Julio Carvalho is here directly from New Jersey, and we are here together with you to talk about this very goal. Blessed are the peacemakers, the meek and the peacemakers. So we're going to rely upon chapter 9 from the Gospel according to Spiritism. For those who follow us daily, we always have a book, a reference, because they are therapeutic lessons to make us broaden our view and boost our new skills. Our personal trainer is Jesus. He today is instructing us on creating more muscles regarding peacemaking skills. We don't know, but we want to know, right? Who wants to know? Raise your hand. I know everybody's raising my hand. Me too, Julio too. And Julio, thank you for being here with us, especially at this hour of the day. Thank you.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you so much for inviting me to your program.
All right. So, Julio, we're here at Cardiac Radio, and I'm also going to connect here our radio for those who cannot connect through Facebook right now. You're listening to us at Cardiac Radio at our app or website, cardiacradio.com. And today is the first day, 10 days of peacemaking skills. Why do we need it? But Julio Carvalho is here with us. And when we talk about peacemaking, we need work at four hands, the discarnates and the incarnates. And that's why Julio is here with us. And we are every day, Julio, when we begin this, we say hi to our beautiful community, because without them, we couldn't be here. For the ones, if I'm not seeing your name, please forgive me. But just so we feel this intercontinental center, it's as Rudy said once, it's our 11th hour Spiritist Center. And this is what it is. Hello, Rita Di Cassia. You see, she's like, hey, Julio, ta. Hugs from Atlanta, Julio. Constance, how are you? Deb Oliveira, Karina from Brazil, our dear psychologist. By the way, beautiful flowers, Karina. No words to say, the feelings. But thank you. Andrea Torres, beautiful Lé Severo. Sunshine, Sunshine is in California, in Greg Stewart and Tanya Stewart's group, Julio. You've been there, right?
I think I have.
Yeah, right?
I think I have, yes.
Yeah. Jailton, how are you? And we have here Rihanna. Julio, I was just telling you about our dear friend Rihanna from South Africa. And he was wondering about what time is it there, Rihanna? I think it's probably 5 a.m., 6 a.m., maybe. Soraya, how are you? Rudy, it's a joy to have you here. Danny and Erica, dear cousins, how are you? So, if you're watching this on demand, We're not saying your name, but we're sending you love. You belong to this community. Feel yourself connected. As Leon Denis said, Julio, if you're reading a book, you're connecting to the mind. If you're watching this video, you're connecting to us, but mostly to Jesus. Because, Julio, we begin this hour talking about the main commandment. I know it's love, but part of it is to inherit the earth. Blessed are the meek and the peace-loving, or the peacemakers. And it's not easy, Julio, to understand it because of the many lives we've had. I'm not so sure if this is the first one. We actually are focusing on consciously becoming peacemakers. What do you think about this invitation by Jesus?
I think the topic of peace is a very complex topic because there are so many issues that we can talk about when it comes to peacemaking. For politicians, for example, when they refer to peace, what they mean by that is the lack of war, lack of armed conflict. And the result of an armed conflict is basically of general people not having access to attend to their basic needs, shelter, food, water. So war in the world results from the lack of basic resources. So for politicians, if people have access to these resources abundantly, then there will be no need for war on the planet. A reason a country invade another country, it's for the simple fact of trying to use the other country's resources. So for a politician, the definition of peace would be needs. Now, would that provide personal peace? If one has food, water, and shelter, does that guarantee our peace? Well, it doesn't. Because inner peace, as we understand in Spiritism, it is the result of us fulfilling our obligations towards ourselves and towards other people. And what are these obligations? Well, we have the obligation to love ourselves and we have the obligation of loving other people. Now, love in this context, Vanessa, it's not a feeling. It's not something that we experience as an emotion for ourselves or for other people. Love here in this context is what we do. So we must love ourselves. In other words, we must choose what is right for us. And to the extent that we also choose what is right for other people. So what would bring me peace is when I fulfill those two obligations. I do what is right for me and I do what is right for the people around me. So there are many techniques that we can use in order to establish peace within ourselves and peace around us that we share our lives with.
Julio, it's very interesting that you're saying this because we would recommend, right, to everyone who would like to be guided on how to achieving this goal that you're mentioning, that we aim at our guidance model. Julio, that we need, when Kardec asked the spirits, if the laws of God are in our conscience, why do we forget? Why don't we know? But then later they reveal that we need people more advanced than our spirits that are more advanced to guide us. And we were given Jesus Christ as the perfect guiding model in our lives. But the question is, he was a peacemaker. But to many people, Julio, the bar is too high, it's not easy. But we don't gain muscle by going to the gym one day. We need to practice every day. And since we are in the gym of peacemaking tonight, right?
Yes.
In chapter 9 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, we have a breakdown of the facets of what we want to achieve. First and foremost, Kardec compiled this chapter by quoting Jesus' passage in Matthew 5, verse 4. Blessed are the meek, for they shall possess the earth. Ble-
Vanessa,
yes,
uh, I think the people are not hearing my voice. I think I read a message in which someone said they can only hear you.
they cannot.
They can only hear you, not me.
Oh, I tested it. I can hear you here. No, no, no. I can hear you. You're Facebook, and I can hear both of us.
Okay.
So you're good, friends.
Okay.
I hope I am double checking the system. Okay. Mm? I'm. You will see Julio and I can see here both of us. I'm double checking. Okay. So yeah, it's
Okay.
right here.
So they wrote that they're hearing both of us. Okay.
Good. All right. Thank you for testing, friends. You know, this is peacemaking. This is love and meekness. But Julia, when they say, blessed are the peace loving, for they shall be called children of God. Now put a stop. Because when Jesus says, blessed are the meek, what is meekness? What does this mean in our daily lives?
When we are not meek, let's analyze the alternative. When we are constantly feeling offended due to what other people do to us, that results in a constant state of turmoil because we allow others to affect our emotions. When we are going to our job, and there could be instances in which people are fighting against one another as if they are in kindergarten, and yet these are grown-up people. For example, you go to your job and you place your food in the same place in the refrigerator, and then here comes a coworker. They move your food to the side and they put your food on the place where your food was. Now, for those who are not meek, immediately they feel offended. They feel as if they were lowered by the other person for the simple fact that this person took their place in the refrigerator. Now, is that enough for
Mm.
someone to feel disturbed? Obviously not. But those little things disrupt people's emotional lives to the point that they spend the rest of the day fighting with the other person.
Mm.
And that animosity increases into hate. And I think what is very sad is that people spend 8 hours of their lives at their job. This is a third of their existence. And if we spend so much time at our job, shouldn't we make the effort of doing the best that we can to live in harmony with other people? I mean, it's not that you agree with what other people are doing, but it is in the best of your interest to be as peaceful as you can during those 8 hours. Now, that peace does not entail in you change others. People have their free will and they will act according to their needs and not ours. So, a fundamental factor for us to establish peace within ourselves is not to try to change others, to understand them, to comprehend their ways. It doesn't mean that you accept what they're doing,
Uh-huh.
but you become an understanding person to the point that you're not against them. When we are against someone, we attack them mentally, verbally, and physically. Now, when we try to comprehend someone, when we try to understand the way they behave. Now we have compassion. We have tolerance, which means that I will not allow the other person's sickness. I would not allow the other person's emotional disturbance to disturb me. I will allow people to be disturbed if that's what they choose to be, but I will not allow myself to be contaminated by their disturbance. And that is an exercise that we do every day in allowing others to be who they want to be. Unfortunately, Vanessa, people are so sensitive. They are so concentrated in their own feelings and themselves that they're constantly looking for others to attend to their needs. So a simple opening of a door, if someone expects the other person to open the door and the person doesn't, that's enough to ruin their day. They feel abased by the other person.
Yeah.
And here we are speaking of peace in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Syria, and we cannot even handle peace amongst our coworkers at our job, a group of 5 people. How can we manage to vibrate for peace for the world if we cannot even have peace within 5 people? And the same applies to our family. It's an illusion of our minds to believe that we will love humanity when we cannot manage to love 3 people at home.
Exactly. And as you said, you're so right, because Kardec breaks down these very first step into understanding the peace loving and the meekness by talking about insults and violence. And we are living, Julio, at a time in which people literally are allowing their aggressiveness to go wild. It's as if they have green light to say, do whatever you like. If you dislike, just say in their face, bully whomever you want. You can finally say whatever you like, because some leaders of the world are giving that example as well. And in the gospel, Kardec brings to us exactly this passage, saying, quoting from Jesus, when he said that when you think somebody is a fool, you are actually not insulting the other person, but you are actually not respecting the divine in the person. So we'd like to discuss a little bit of this, because through the recent events in the world, everything is escalating in aggression because people feel they can do whatever they like, even if it's to be violent.
Vanessa, someone wrote that your voice is echoing, and I think it's because they're hearing from the laptop and also from the phone at the same time. I think that's the reason why you have echo.
Yeah, I am hearing you from my earphone, but if you're hearing me from your desktop and
I'm
not
okay.
in earphone.
I'm okay. The people writing this stuff.
Yeah. On our side, friends, I can't help it. I'm sorry.
And
But hold on. We're going to work on it, okay?
If you have no audio in the Kardec app.
So, Julio.
Yes.
I can hear you, my voice echoing coming from your computer. Is that a way you can use a headphone?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Let me lower here.
If you want, I can keep talking to people while you figure it out, okay? You're out of sight for people. Take your time. So, friends, while Julio helps us, and he's patient enough and he's helping us here. So let us talk about this. You probably have heard about the events in the world nowadays. And as we've been discussing for more than 6 months, we are at a critical time on the earth. Right, Elisa? Oh, it's so good to have you here. Awareness of our emotions, emotional intelligence. Exactly. So we really, really need, okay, um, to pay attention, right, Solange? Gustavo, how are you? And we are here saying hi to everybody. Juliano, Leticia, thank you, friends. Carol and Mark Smith, it's good to have you here too. And here we have Julio with us. Thank you, Julio, for your kindness and your patience. Since it's a radio, it pertains that you are with your headphones, so forgive me for not, but it works. But let's go back, Julio, to this
Yes.
critical question.
Um,
Right nowadays, people are thinking that since leaders in the world, political leaders and others, are showing that there is no self control, people are allowing their most animalistic instincts and aggressiveness to go wild to the point people are killing others, bullying others, etc., etc. And we're seeing this in greater perspective, like we've seen today in Brazil, two, I think, few days ago in Manchester, London, in the United Kingdom. What would you like to share in that regard, Julio?
that it is important for us not to allow ourselves to contaminate. Must be the peace where we find ourselves in. We definitely don't have control of what goes on overseas, but we definitely have an influence what goes on at our jobs, within our families, and also at our centers. It's amazing that Allan Kardec, when he established a philosophy for our movement in order for us to work together, he established that we must uh, have tolerance. Now, what is tolerance? Well, tolerance is our ability to live in harmony with someone that is different than we are. When we respect their differences, when we cherish their differences, it doesn't mean that I agree with them. It simply means that I am not against the other individual because they think in a different way. So by knowing this, we can apply this philosophy of life to wherever we go. At our job, for example, we create so much expectation, Vanessa, on other
Yeah.
people. And by creating expectation, we are literally waiting for people to behave in the way that we expect them to do so. Now, the result of that, oh, one moment, please. Someone else complained about the level of my voice. Okay, I hope it's better now.
No,
This is the first time
it's no, but we were.
technical issues.
That's okay. We were hearing you, but now it's even better. Keep going,
Okay.
please. Yeah.
One of the biggest challenge in living with other people to establish peace, it's not to create expectation. When we expect people to behave in a certain way, we are preparing ourselves to be disillusioned because people have no obligation to attend to our expectations. This is the sort of thing that happens, Vanessa. Let's say we belong to a group of workers or we belong to a spiritist center, and then we say to ourselves, tomorrow, John and Joseph will show up to help me clean this particular room. So then I create this expectation that John and Joseph will be there, as if they have written a contract that they will be there. So on the following morning, here I am, it's 8 o'clock, and I've created this illusion that John and Joseph will be there. Now it's 8:30, and there are no signs of John and Joseph. But then Richard shows up, Alex shows up, Jeff shows up, Mary shows up, I have Adriana showing up. Now, what happened is I am so frustrated that John and Joseph never show up, that I don't get to enjoy the presence of these other five people who never promised they would show up, but they did. And that is the result of my expectation. I established this path of frustration with myself because I counted on these people. I created this expectation that they will attend to my needs. And whenever we do this, Vanessa, we create chaos in our personal lives and the lives of the people that we work with, our coworkers. So it will be very wise for us to understand that people have their limitations. People does not have an obligation to attend to my personal needs. And when we free ourselves of these expectations, then we are able to live harmoniously with people from all walks of life. They have no obligations to attend to me. I have an obligation to be the best I can, a better version of myself, but I cannot impose that obligation on other people. So when I am able to carry myself this way, I am a meek individual. I am a peaceful individual. This is why I am blessed. In other words, I am happy. I am in peace. When the opposite occurs, I'm constantly creating expectation on others. Therefore, I'm constantly creating pressure on others, like anybody. And therefore, I create my own personal wars.
You know, Julio, it's very interesting that you're saying this because in the very passage that we were mentioning, which is the first item of chapter 9, and I would like to reinforce it's from the Gospel According to Spiritism by Kardec, because we can only train ourselves to the new if we put effort and repetition, as André Louis says, right? So in item 5, Kardec says to us that he asks, what did Jesus mean by these words? Blessed are the meek, for they shall possess the earth. And he says, while waiting for the things of heaven, humans have need of the things of the earth in order to live. He only advises them not to attach more importance to the earthly things than to the things of the spirit. And this is exactly what Julio is saying, in other words. It's about expectation. Julio, exercise-wise, when Kardec mentions to us that passage by Jesus, raka, when they say raka to somebody, in other words, in English would be you fool. When I put somebody down, I'm actually creating already a vibratory exchange that is towards violence and aggression, even if I don't say it in words, right? So,
Definitely.
right, like putting somebody down, thinking that they are not worth, as you said, our attention, our dedication, our caring, our even our forgiveness, because it's easy to talk about peacemaking when everything's peaceful. But when things are chaotic, when we are hurt and frustrated, hurting the ego, frustrated in our expectation, that's when we are called to peacemaking. So from what you said, Julio, first thing, we should revisit our expectations.
Yes, Vanessa. And we also should consider that if we truly understand this beautiful philosophy that we follow, Spiritism, we would know that in reality, we are living an excellent opportunity to develop ourselves, to promote ourselves spiritually. You know, sometimes I hear a lot of people, and this without any criticism, is just an analysis, that they say they wish they could be in better places. Now, the thing is, if we were surrounded by perfect beings at this moment, let's say we were actually placed in a better world, in a more advanced planet of perfected spirits, that would not be convenient to us. And the reason being, it's because we yet still have to develop virtues. And virtues can only be acquired when we are exposed to the conditions that provide the exercise that I need. So, for example, we still have to develop patience. Now, if I'm surrounded by perfect individuals will not provoke me in order for me to exercise patience. If I have to uh, gather the virtue of comprehension, of understanding, of tolerance, perfect people will not provide me the means, the material that I need to exercise those virtues. Who are the people that would give me the conditions that would provide the material that I need to practice patience? Well, irritable people,
Mm,
difficult people, unpleasant people. These are the people who are giving me the conditions that I need, the opportunity that I must have to develop my virtues. You mentioned a couple of times giving the analogy of the exercise. Well,
mhm,
if we go to the gym to develop our bicep, one simple exercise in just one repetition would not do. We have
mhm.
to go to the gym at least 3 times, maybe 2 hours whenever we go, and and that still might not give us the result that we want. Now, when it comes to building our spiritual muscle, our virtues, much more exercise are needed. A variety of exercises are needed and repetitive, many of them. And so, difficult, unpleasant people are the key ingredients that I need in order to develop the virtues that I still don't have. So, looking at them from this perspective, instead of being angry at them, now we're going to be thankful for their existence in our lives. They are literally the means by which I will walk towards my perfection because they are helping me develop these virtues. And that's if I'm using that opportunity wisely. So God placed us at the right place, at the right time,
Right.
with the right people. Conflict moment, time period that we're living, it's perfect for us to develop the virtues that yet we don't have. Many people, when they start reading the gospel according to Spiritism and they get to Emmanuel's work and they read Paul of Tarsus, they dream of being one of the early Christians and saying, oh my God, if I was there, I would definitely give myself to the lions. Well, we have different lions today. We have different tigers. You have the entire zoo. And if we're able
Yeah.
to use the current moment, we can ascend as the early Christians did. We just have to put in the work, and that requires lots of effort in our part. And when we are doing our best effort, Vanessa, it's
Mhm.
not even attaining the goal. It's when we are making the best effort that we can. We experience peace, meekness in us because we're
Mhm.
tending to our obligations.
It's interesting you're mentioning this, Julio, because we both have toddlers, like little girls for daughters, and it makes us rethink about the educational system, our society, even more deeply. And one of the things that I've realized in this passage that we just talked about, like when people say very easily to others, like, that person is a fool, that person is like some somebody less than I or mine. And I see many children being incited to feeling that they are more important, being self-absorbed. And I see parents telling me like, oh, but that's the age when they are self-absorbed. But it's the age for them to learn not to be self-absorbed. Because if they don't learn it now, for example, the me, my, mine phase, oh, it's mine, it's mine. And I remember Mentor Joseph saying, you need to teach Virginia from the very get go that nothing is hers, everything is God's, and it could be shared with everyone. There is no forcefulness to it. There's just an explanation and an easy invitation. And I see that, one day when I mistakenly, she picked up my phone and said, no, 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 that's my phone. And she was like, no, mom, remember it's ours. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's ours. But I said, but it's my turn. So
I,
in a way, at work, it's the same, right? People feel that the urge to be first, to be first, to be, and then why?
I fully agree with you, Vanessa, that we are responsible for shaping their personalities from the get-go. We cannot teach them once they become teenagers because now their personalities are almost fully formed. But
Mm-hmm.
going back to what you said, which is very important, when someone belittles other people, that only shows who the belittler is.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a need to push people down so we can feel better, that shows the lack of character in our part.
Mm-hmm.
It also shows how unhappy one is because a rule of social behavior is that only unhappy people likes to make other people unhappy. If we are happy people, we want to make other people happy. We do our best to do that. And unfortunately, I see lots of that at my job. There's a need to put other people down so you can feel good. And sometimes people do unintentionally just because it might seem that is the social norm. You bully someone, a way of playing. But, there are certain things that we should not even play with. And there are so many different ways that we can laugh and joke and have a good time without humiliating anyone due to their sexual orientation, the color of the skin, or their ethnicity. There is no need to
Mm-mm.
belittle people to feel good about what we're doing about ourselves. And that is something that we should definitely teach our children. From the get-go, it's not I, it's we.
Yes.
We are part of this. We are part of the solution, and we should work together. When it comes to education, I know this is a little bit off topic, but um, if parents want to guarantee their peace in the future, they need to fulfill their obligation in educating their children. And one of them is educate their children as if the children will stay with them forever. They're raising the child for their own and not for the world. And as much as we want to keep our children under our roof, they will go their separate ways because that's how life
Yes,
is. So we
that's true.
should prepare them for the world.
You're right, Julio. And it's interesting. Let me just say, Elisa, right? Elisa from Panama, she's just reminding us about the importance of practicing what you just said, like the we instead of I. And dear Ana Mercia, I know yesterday, Julio, it was Jailton's birthday, and he's from the Yes Group in New York. We didn't say happy birthday, but at the end, we're going to sing to him and to Annie. But hold on, friends, because we have one more thing before we wrap up for today. Julio, talking about exercises. Every time we talk about emotions, we're talking about vibrations. We're talking about thoughts and vibrations. And sometimes it's so instinctive that people have a hard time to actually hold on to their aggressive instincts. So we would tell, breathe, learn to breathe in and out before you do anything. Breathing scientifically has been proved. It boosts our relaxation response, says Dr. Heber Benson from Harvard University. And then from there on, we can, as Julio said, remind ourselves we are children of God, the same. So why am I going to do this to this person if this person will have the same right to do the same to me? We often, like in traffic or at a coffee shop or at a supermarket, like at Costco, right before a storm, everybody's buying the whole Costco. And people are like, the other day I saw a woman, she was going to buy something. She saw the lines. She threw one of the bags on the floor and left. And I looked at her, it was a bag of chocolate dipped pretzels. I almost got it for me, but I said, no, I can't. I shouldn't go there. But I said, oh man, she must be really, in a hurry or not patient enough because everything is in the click of a button. So breathe in and say, it's okay. This shall pass. We're children of God. And we can talk to people. Julio, people sometimes don't know the difference between understanding and making themselves understood. Right?
Yes, Vanessa. And this topic that you just touched, it's very extensive. It requires so much time because we're dealing with human conditions. Pavlov, the scientist who first studied our behaviors that were conditioned, he said that we need to break the conditions of our behavior by establishing new behaviors. So if we have conditioned ourselves to act in aggressive ways, it takes a lot of work to change the habit and replace by something new. And one of the things that we can use definitely is breathing. But in addition to breathing, there are so many other things that we need to work on. But as we struggle to create new and healthier behaviors, some people might feel disappointed with themselves, that they say, I am a spiritist, I'm reading all these books, and yet I cannot put into practice this stuff that I wanted to do so bad. It seems that the old behavior that I want to stop practicing, I still do. And the new behavior, as much as I want, it's not coming. It's not happening for me. Well, this is where I love the definition of Allan Kardec of a true spiritist. When he says that a true spiritist is someone who's making the effort to control their negative inclination. What this man is saying is that a true spiritist, it's not someone who doesn't have jealousy, greed, pride, envy, or aggressiveness. It's someone that has those things, but he is making or she's making an effort to curb those tendencies. They are making the effort. So if you're listening to us tonight and sometimes you feel upset that you still behave in your old ways, give yourself a break. If you're making the effort, that defines who you are. It's someone who is tired of your old behavior and you're trying to establish a new one. Just take into consideration that this old behavior that we have, it's old. Now, I mean old, not 20 years, 40 years, or 3 reincarnations. I mean, it's old for ours. It requires years of practice. So think of this way. If you're someone who before you used to punch people in the face, and today you just picture in your mind that you're punching them, well, that's progress. You are not attacking them physically. You're letting them know that you're going to attack them. You verbalize, but you don't do it. Well, that's progress. Now, if you're today someone who used to tell people you're going to attack them, and now you only think about it, well, that's progress. because we have action, verbalization, and thoughts. And the ideal progress will be when we're not even thinking of these things anymore. We look at people, we see that they're emotionally sick, and we have compassion for them. We understand that there are so many different factors that can make them unhappy, and this is why they are screaming at you. They are trying to make you unhappy. They're saying negative things towards us. So we respect them, we tolerate them, we understand them without saying that we accept what they're saying.
Beautiful, Julio. And right now we are gonna wrap up, but this is just the beginning. 10 exercises. The main exercise today is to recognize, as Julio is saying, that we're evolving and that our past was worse than today and the future is going to be better than today. But we need to push us to another level. Julio, yesterday we were mentioning at Cardiac Radio that often people compare themselves to those who are inferior to them, saying, I'm doing wonderful. I'm not a criminal any longer. And I don't kill people. So I'm doing great. I go to the Spiritist Center once a week and I help the homeless and I read Spiritist books. I cook and I clean. I'm not doing bad, but that's not how we progress. We progress by looking at the master, the guided model. And then, without being overcritical, as Elisa said, we need to do what? To say, let's walk another mile. There is another mile and another mile. And as Julio is saying, okay, I accept myself. So the affirmation, friends, I love and accept myself because I'm a child of God. But I am progressing. I am progressing. Right, Julio?
Yes, Vanessa. And since we're heading to our final thought, and I spoke so much about the way we behave in our job, um, one habit that we can create that is very healthy is to pray for our coworkers. And the beautiful thing about Spiritism is that it tells us that we don't need any physical exterior um, movements to pray. We can be walking and praying. So this is a habit that you can develop while you drive into work. You have some soothing music going on, and you are visualizing having a great day around your coworkers. You park your car, and by the time you walk to your job, that's useful moment, useful time that you can put into practice, thoughts of peace and positive. So you're literally praying that you have a wonderful day. And something like this, Master Jesus and highly evolved friends, I wish peace with my coworkers, help us to have a day of harmony within ourselves. And if something happens that might lead to a conflict, help me be at peace. Help me resolve the conflict without creating additional problems with my coworkers, because in a sense, they are my family too. And then we do this prayer, simple enough. It's 20 seconds while we're walking towards our job. And as we're leaving towards our car, highly evolved spirits, please help my coworkers, help my friends here at my job to go home and have a peaceful life with their husbands and wives and kids. Help them arrive home in peace so they're not fighting. And these vibrations definitely create an influence on them. It's not going to happen overnight, but surely you will see from time to time people look for you for advice. People will find you a sense of calmness, and that will be evidence that your prayers have.
It's very inspirational, and as you're saying, we're very thankful to God, our guiding model, Jesus, the divine friend, to the good spirits who put us together here with this beautiful community that is connected. We can almost visualize our beautiful room uniting these continents. And we hope at this very hour to pray for God. God, thank you for teaching us what we don't know yet. Thank you for giving us time to learn and to serve. And we pray that our dear planet Earth feels your love and the invitation to our true nature, our spirit nature, divinely created by you. May everyone who is connected with us feel this peacemaking invitation and work together to create peace on earth, beginning with each one of us. And so be it. So before you go, I promise, we have here Binhão. Thank you, Binhão. Elisa from Panama. Andrea Torres, many friends. Annie Mércia is from Belo Horizonte. And we have many friends here. If we missed you, we apologize. Solange. So, Annie, beautiful community in Belo Horizonte. She had her birthday. And Jailton, thank you. It's so funny. It's Rudy. But anyhow, happy birthday to you, dear friends. Happy birthday to you. Happy new beginning and happy new beginning to all of us on the earth. Thank you, Julio, for your patience, for your endurance here with us, being the first one in this new platform here at Kardec Radio. Thank you, Julio.
Vanessa, I'm the one who is very grateful for having me on your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So,
And
dear
thank you for all
friends,
of you who listened.
thank you, Julio. Thank you for your family and for waiting for us here. It's past midnight, but tomorrow, God willing, Fred Gouveia from the Inner Enlightenment Spiritist Society is going to be here with us talking about another feature of peacemaking. It's about kindness. We need kindness. So, the next 24 hours, the exercise is everything we have said. So, the homework is spread out. Thank you, Julio. Thank you, friends. Bye.
Bye-bye.